The ages of Earth, before we were here, long before there were cities, kingdoms, languages, or even human beings. Earth was a very different world. There were no roads, no houses, no music, no stories. No one stood beneath the stars and wondered how the universe began. The planet existed in silence. More than 4.5 billion years ago, Earth was not the blue and green world we know today. It was a fiery sphere of molten rock floating through space. Volcanoes erupted constantly. Rivers of lava flowed across the surface. Giant asteroids crashed into the young planet, reshaping its landscape again and again. For millions of years, Earth was hostile to life. There were no oceans, forests, or animals, only fire and stone. Slowly, however, the planet began to change. The surface cooled. Water vapor in the atmosphere condensed and fell as rain. Not for days, not for months, but for millions of years. The rain filled vast basins and formed the first oceans. These oceans covered most of the planet. Deep beneath their waters, something extraordinary happened. Tiny, microscopic organisms appeared. No one knows exactly how life began. Scientists continue to study the mystery. Yet somehow, from simple chemical reactions and favorable conditions, the first living cells emerged. They were incredibly small, simple, fragile, yet they possessed one remarkable ability. They could reproduce generation after generation. These tiny organisms spread across Earth's oceans. For billions of years, life remained microscopic. The world changed slowly. The atmosphere transformed. The oceans evolved. Life experimented endlessly. Then, one of the most important events in Earth's history occurred. Certain microorganisms began producing oxygen. At first, oxygen was rare. Eventually, it accumulated throughout the atmosphere. This changed everything. Many early organisms disappeared. Others adapted. New forms of life emerged. Earth was preparing for a future no one could yet imagine. Millions of years passed, then hundreds of millions more. Life became increasingly complex. Strange creatures appeared in the oceans. Some developed shells. Others developed eyes. Some became predators. Others became prey. Evolution was shaping the future. The oceans were filled with incredible forms of life unlike anything alive today. Then came another great milestone. Life moved onto land. Plants were among the first pioneers. They spread across barren landscapes. Green life-covered areas that had once been empty rock. Soon, insects followed, then amphibians, then reptiles. The planet was becoming more alive with each passing age. Forests expanded across continents. Gigantic trees stretched toward the sky. Swamps covered vast regions. The air was warm and humid. Life flourished. And then came the age that would capture human imagination millions of years later. The age of dinosaurs. For more than 160 million years, dinosaurs ruled Earth. Some were enormous. Others were small and fast. Some hunted. Others grazed peacefully on vegetation. They occupied nearly every ecosystem. Massive, long-necked giants walked across ancient plains. Predators with sharp teeth stalked their prey. Flying reptiles soared through the skies. Ancient marine reptiles dominated the seas. The world belonged to them. If someone could have visited Earth during this time, they would barely recognize it. There were no humans, no cities, no civilization. Only nature, operating on a scale almost impossible to imagine. The continents themselves looked different. They moved slowly across the planet's surface. Mountains rose. Oceans expanded. Entire environments changed over millions of years. Yet even the reign of the dinosaurs would not last forever. About 66 million years ago, disaster struck. A massive asteroid collided with Earth. The impact released unimaginable energy. Shock waves traveled around the globe. Wildfires spread across continents. Dust and debris filled the atmosphere. Sunlight became blocked. Temperatures dropped. Ecosystems collapsed. Countless species disappeared. Among them were most dinosaurs. The age of giants came to an end, yet life endured. It always had, and it always would. After the extinction event, a new chapter began. Small mammals that had once lived in the shadows of dinosaurs started to thrive. They diversified rapidly. Some climbed trees, others ran across open grasslands. Some adapted to cold climates, others flourished in tropical forests. Earth entered another long period of transformation. Millions of years passed. Mountains formed. Ice ages came and went. Oceans shifted. Animals evolved into countless forms. Among these creatures were primates, small ancestors of monkeys, apes, and eventually humans. At first, they were unremarkable. Few could have predicted their future importance. Yet evolution continued its slow work. Generation after generation, adaptation after adaptation. Over immense periods of time, certain primates began walking upright more frequently. Their hands became increasingly dexterous. Their brains grew larger. They learned. They adapted. They survived. The journey toward humanity had begun. It was a journey that would take millions of years. And by the time the first true humans appeared, Earth had already witnessed ages beyond imagination. The world before humanity was not empty. It was filled with life, change, struggle, and wonder. Every mountain, every river, every forest, every grain of sand had a history far older than any civilization. The story of Earth was already billions of years old before the first human ever looked up at the stars. But humanity was coming, and with humanity would come something entirely new. Stories, civilizations, empires, science, article, dreams, and questions about where everything began. Those questions continue even today, because the history of Earth is not merely the story of a planet. It is the story of time itself, to be continued. The rise of humanity. Around 300,000 years ago, modern humans began to appear on Earth. They were not kings. They were not builders of cities. They were survivors. Small groups traveled across vast landscapes searching for food, water, and shelter. The world was dangerous. Giant predators roamed the land. Ice Age winters could be deadly. Every day was a challenge, yet humans possessed something unique. They could imagine, they could learn, and they could share knowledge. They learned how to control fire. Fire gave them warmth. It protected them from predators. It allowed them to cook food. For the first time, people gathered around glowing flames beneath the night sky. Stories were born. Generations passed. Humans spread across continents. They crossed deserts. They followed rivers. They explored forests and mountains. Eventually, they reached nearly every corner of the world. Some traveled into Europe. Others moved into Asia. Some crossed ancient land bridges into the Americas. Humanity was expanding. As thousands of years passed, people became increasingly skilled. They created tools from stone. They hunted more effectively. They learned to work together in larger groups. Then another great transformation occurred. Around 12,000 years ago, humans began farming. Instead of constantly moving, they settled near fertile land. They planted crops. They raised animals. Villages appeared, then towns. Then cities. Civilization had begun. The first great civilizations emerged near rivers. The people of Mesopotamia built cities between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. In Egypt, communities flourished along the Nile. In the Indus Valley, sophisticated cities appeared with advanced planning and drainage systems. In China, early dynasties began shaping one of the world's oldest continuous civilizations. Knowledge grew rapidly. Writing was invented. History could now be recorded. Laws were created. Trade expanded. People exchanged goods, ideas, and cultures. Great monuments rose from the earth. The pyramids of Egypt amazed the ancient world. Temples and palaces appeared across continents. Kings and queens ruled vast territories. Empires expanded. Wars were fought. Peace treaties were signed. The world was becoming increasingly connected. For the first time, humanity was shaping the planet on a massive scale. Roads connected distant regions. Ships crossed oceans. Explorers ventured into unknown lands. The age of civilization had truly begun. And yet, compared to Earth's history, humanity's story had only just started. The modern world. Thousands of years passed. Empires rose and fell. The Roman Empire expanded across continents before eventually collapsing. Ancient kingdoms disappeared. New nations emerged. Throughout history, humanity continued to innovate. Scientists studied the stars. Inventors created remarkable machines. Explorers mapped the world. Knowledge spread faster than ever before. Then came the Industrial Revolution. Factories appeared. Steam engines transformed transportation. Railways connected cities. Technology accelerated human progress. Within only a few generations, the world changed dramatically. Electricity illuminated homes and streets. Telephones connected distant voices. Airplanes carried people through the skies. Cars filled the roads. Humanity entered the modern age. The 20th century brought both extraordinary achievements and terrible conflicts. World wars affected millions of lives, yet scientific discoveries continued. Computers were invented. Medical advances saved countless people. Space exploration became reality. In 1969, humans stepped onto the moon. For the first time in history, Earth was viewed from another world. The blue planet looked small and fragile against the darkness of space. Today, more than 8 billion people live on Earth. Massive cities stretch across continents. Information travels around the world in seconds. People communicate instantly across oceans. Technology continues to evolve at incredible speed. Yet despite all our achievements, we remain connected to the same ancient planet. The mountains still stand. The oceans still move with the tides. The stars still shine above us. Earth has survived asteroid impacts, ice ages, volcanic eruptions, and countless changes over billions of years. Humanity represents only a tiny chapter in Earth's immense story. And the story is not finished. Future generations will write the next chapters. They will explore new technologies. Perhaps they will settle other planets. Perhaps they will uncover mysteries we cannot yet imagine. But no matter how far humanity travels, our journey began here, on a small blue world that formed billions of years ago among the stars. From molten rock to oceans, from microscopic life to dinosaurs, from early humans to modern civilization, the story of Earth is the greatest story ever told, and we are living in its newest chapter, the end.